All right, guys. I am going to be making my hamburger soup. Really, you can use any kind of burger, or if you don't want to use any burger at all, you could substitute it with whatever you like to substitute. I like eating burger once in a while. Typically, I do use turkey burger. But anyway, so the ingredients are going to be, so I use 3 pounds of ground beef, and then I chop up one whole yellow onion, and then about 64 ounces of bone broth. You can mix it up too. You could use veggie broth. I've done that before and it is amazing. And then 2 medium potatoes I use. If they're small, I might use 3 or 4. And honestly, guys, I usually don't measure stuff. I just kind of guess as I go. So this is even a journey for myself of having to measure stuff. So normally regular sized potatoes 2. If they're small, you could use 3 or 4. And then I like to mix in sweet potatoes in my recipe also. And then I use 2 cups of fresh or frozen green beans. And I like to get them so they're like, I don't know if you can see that. So they're smaller pieces. They're like bite-sized pieces, especially if you have little kids. And then I use 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes, and then I'll add in 4 tablespoons of tomato paste. While I'm talking, I'm actually going to throw in the onions. You can saute your onions in whatever you like to saute them. If you don't want to use any oil, don't use any oil. I love butter. I don't eat a lot of it, but when I cook or I saute my onions, I do use butter. And then I'll let the onions cook, and then I use 2 tablespoons of fresh minced garlic I'll put in there, and then 2 teaspoons of thyme, 2 teaspoons of oregano, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt, and then a half to 1 teaspoon of black pepper. So I'm going to just let these onions cook up. And it doesn't really take long for the onions to saute. So I usually like to saute my onions first, and then I'll throw in the garlic once the onions are done, because I don't really saute the garlic too long. And then I actually take my onions out and I cook my burger all the way through, and then I add it back together. That's just something that I've always done. I just like doing it that way. And then once the burger is done, I throw back in the onions and the garlic. So I'm gonna let that saute up. All right, so now the onions and the garlic are sauteed, and I like to get them caramelized. It's delicious. And so then now I'm gonna throw in my beef, and I'll get that all cooked all the way through. And then once the beef is all done, then I will add in the onions and the garlic. So this usually takes about, I don't know, not even 10 minutes to cook in here. So it's pretty quick. And then if you're not using meat, that would be even quicker. You would just add all your veggies and whatever else you like to add into there. And really, honestly, guys, this is make the recipe your own. I learned, I used to follow recipes when I would find one, like, ooh, I want to try that. And I would stick all the way to the recipe, even though there was herbs or spices or something in there that I didn't like. I didn't like the flavors, and of course, so I wouldn't like, say if it was thyme that I didn't like, and I still used it because the recipe called for it. Well, I wouldn't actually like the soup. It wouldn't be enjoyable for me. So I would just take these out, and it seems so silly, like, well, of course, I should have taken it out, but I was trying to stick right to the recipe. But I've learned over the years, and then to even add things in there. So when I would make this soup before, I would put just potatoes in it, and I was like, man, why wouldn't I use sweet potatoes? I love sweet potatoes. So really, it's just knowing what you like and then just trying things. And then if it's not something that you like, you know, to either take things out or add other things in and make it your own recipe. That's what's so much fun about cooking. Right. So the burger is done. So now I'm going to add my onions and the garlic that I already sauteed back in, and I put the tomato paste right on top. And then I'll just throw in all of the other ingredients. So I'll put in my crushed tomatoes. There's a little bit of liquid in there once I put the other ingredients in there. I'm gonna put my frozen green beans in. And then I'll just start dumping in. So it's about 64 ounces of broth. And so I don't have any bone broth on hand, so I'm just going to use some store-bought broth. Okay, get that all in there. And then let's just measure it. So that one was, I think it was 48 ounces, so I needed about 1648. And then a little bit more. Why not? All right, so there's that. And then I will put in my potatoes and my sweet potatoes. And so then what you do after you get all of your ingredients in here, you're gonna bring it back to, it's gonna come to a boil again, and then you will simmer it for 20 minutes. And then this soup is so good. And it might be even sooner depending on how small your potato pieces are, because it actually cooks pretty fast. It's so good. It's like one of my favorite soups ever to eat, especially in the colder months, you know. And it was actually when we went on a walk earlier today, I was like, I really want some soup. We actually stopped at a store and got some. It was like a meatball soup there, but it was so good, and I'm gonna try to make that soup too. It was Mexican meatball soup, and it was delicious. So we had 5 people eating. Thank God it was a pretty good size container of soup. So, and it was really good. And this soup is really good. Can't wait to eat it tonight. We'll eat it. I'll have salad on the side with mine. Yeah, so I'm gonna let that cook, and then we'll put it in some bowls so you can see what it looks like. All right, my gosh, here it is. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me try to get it close without dumping it. Oh, there it is. That is the amazing soup, and it is done. And I forgot to say in the beginning, so when I make this recipe, which I'm actually gonna show you guys, I did write it down. Usually I don't write my recipes down because they're from memory. However, I've been more intentional about making sure that I write them down, especially now because I am going to share all this goodness with you. So I make this recipe, and the recipe that I gave you at the beginning is a doubled recipe, because what I do, especially when I make soups or chili, stuff like that, really it's a lot with soup. I double the recipe and then I freeze it, so I have something on hand for when it's a busier season for us. And this soup is amazing. So one of the awesome things about soup or chili, it's like the next day and then the next day after that, the flavor is amazing. So that is the hamburger soup. And I'm just gonna bring this up here. I don't know, will it be backwards, Rowan?
No.
In there, they'll be able to see it. So that is the recipe there. So the full recipe and just how I do it. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll be sure to post lots more of what I cook. And really, cooking is, it's just something that's super joyful for me. I love cooking, and I've always just had the mindset that no matter what I'm cooking, it's gonna be good. So, and that's it. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.